It's not about the amount of likes that you get or the compliments that you get. All of those things are lovely. Like, they're nice, but those things will fade, right? At the end of the day, the older we get, those things will fade. So the only thing you're going to be left with is how you feel about yourself. And like I said, fitness really is a metaphor for life. So the more you show yourself you're strong and that you can do things that maybe you didn't think you can do, the more you can take that into your life. And that's what I want to show women is we're not limited. We don't need to be held back, especially by ourselves and our own limiting beliefs. So if I can push somebody just a little bit harder, if I can show them how to love themselves a little more, if I can be the person that believes in them while they learn to believe in themselves, then that's what I want to be here to do.
Hi, welcome to the Empowered Woman Podcast. This is a place for you to learn from inspiring women how to empower yourself through self-love. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marta Spurk, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. On this episode, I talked to Autumn Calabrese, fitness and nutrition expert, Beachbody super trainer, mom, and an all-around amazing woman. She shares her thoughts on self-love, body image, and how she hopes to be impacting women to love and believe in themselves. Let's get right to it. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, thank you for having me on.
Yes, I am so excited. So for those of you who don't know Autumn, I'm going to have her introduce herself really quickly, but I am just so excited to have her on to share more about herself and her journey. So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Sure. I'm Autumn Calabrese. I'm a fitness and nutrition expert. I work with Beachbody. I create at-home fitness and nutrition programs. You might have heard of them: 21 Day Fix, 21 Day Fix Extreme, Masters Hammer and Chisel, Country Heat, 80-Day Obsession, cookbook and cooking show Fixate, mom to a beautiful little boy, Dominic, although he's not that little anymore. He's about to be 11 and he's the same size as me. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Oh my goodness. The list goes on and on. So many amazing things that you've created to help women and men across the board to just change their lives. And really what I love so much about your work is that while you think that it's from the outside that the change comes, it really is, it starts from the inside. And just the whole motivation that you add to the workouts and everything that you say, it really shows that you work on the inside as well, because that's where it all starts, like with personal development. And that's one of the things that I wanted us to focus today, is not so much talk about the nutrition or the exercises, but really how you cultivate that part of you, that the part that really drives us to do all the things.
Yeah, being in the fitness industry, so many people, when they start a workout program or a nutrition program, they're starting it because they want to lose weight or they want to change their appearance in some way. And while that is a fantastic reason, to me, it's like sort of the subsequent reason why you should be doing it. The bigger reason is about being the healthiest version of yourself, about being the best version of yourself. I've always used movement, fitness, dance for really, I joke about it, but I'm also serious when I say it's for my mental sanity. Good day, bad day, dance it out is what I used to say. Now I say good day, bad day, work it out, because on the good days, you do it because it feels good. But on the bad days, you do it even more because it feels good and it helps you to feel better. So I think it's really important. I don't want to sound like I don't care about appearance, because that would be lying. Like, I'm not going to flat out lie and be like, I don't want a six pack or I don't want to look good. Of course, we all want to look good.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I want to feel good. Like, ultimately, I want to be healthy. So I think that's why I'm able to stay so consistent, and why sometimes people struggle to stay consistent is because they hit that number, or they get to the point where they feel really good in the bathing suit or something, and they're like, oh, I did it. And they think I'm done. And you're not done. You're never done. It's an ongoing journey, because your health and your well-being is always an ongoing journey. So it's just really important to approach it from the inside out. That's where longevity comes from. That's what I believe.
Yes, totally. And I think most people don't understand that eating healthier makes you feel better, and sleeping more and working out, it all comes to play with your emotional and all the things. And it's hard for until you start this journey to understand that everything works together. It's not really separate, right? And what are some of the things that you do besides working out to help with your emotions, anxiety, and eating healthy that help with that, like reading, or what are some of the practices? Because I know nowadays there's lots of talk about mindfulness and breathing exercises, meditation. What are some of the things that you feel like help you?
I mean, eating is a big one for me that I do. The healthier I eat, again, same thing, the better I feel. And I don't just mean like the better I feel physically. Again, the better I feel mentally.
Yeah.
The less anxiety I have, yeah, like you said, the more what you put in, it directly impacts everything.
Yeah.
So that's actually a big one. I'm very mindful when I eat. I didn't used to be. I waited tables for years. I ate running around. I ate standing up, like, it was just put fuel in and keep going. And so I really try nowadays to sit and be present when I'm eating, because it's important to taste your food, chew your food, enjoy it. That's part of how you don't end up overeating.
Right.
So often we mindlessly eat that we don't realize how much we've eaten, or you've eaten all of your food and you didn't really pay attention to the fact that you were eating it. So you think like, oh, I didn't even taste that. Like I need a little bit more because I forgot to pay attention. So that's a really big one for me. I don't necessarily like consistently meditate or consistently do breathing exercises, but I'm always very present and aware of where I'm at, both mentally and physically, and what my body is asking me for. So like today I woke up pretty sore, and while I had every intention of like going hard in my workout, I was like, ooh, that's not what my body is asking for today. My body is asking for me to foam roll, to stretch, maybe take the dog on a longer walk. I'm going to get a massage. So I just moved around my self-care day, my day off, and I made it today instead of what would have been tomorrow. Because I was like, no, my body's asking for it today. Right. I know when my anxiety kicks in, I feel it. My rib cage and my diaphragm tightens. So while I should be better about practicing my breathing on a very regular basis, I can't say that I do. I'm a work in progress. But when I feel it, I will slow down. I will work on my breathing and do certain different techniques, deep breathing and diaphragm breathing and things like that. So, I'll read sometimes. I love going to sound baths once or twice a month. If you don't know what they are, they're the most beautiful thing. You're in a room full of people and they're playing, you have sort of healers or specialists there, and they're playing different gongs and the rain sticks, and you go in your comfy clothes with a pillow and blanket and you lay and they play the music, and it is so just relaxing and rejuvenating and inspiring all at the same time. They usually happen at night, so you're really relaxed, so you go home and go to sleep. Nice. So yeah, there's all sorts of different things that I love to do just depending on how I'm feeling.
And I love how being more aware of your body, just like what you were saying, it changes everything, especially when you're eating slower and just being present in the moment and just knowing when you're supposed to rest. Because I feel like people are so out of touch with who they are and not connected with what's going on with them. And that's why they crash or they overeat and all of these things. And when you're talking about overeating, I just thought of something like going through the programs and going through the containers and knowing what like nuts are worth and how much you're supposed to be eating. And when you're in a get together, you just get, handfuls and you just eat a bunch. You don't even know what's going on. You don't even know how that's affecting you. And that's how we do not only with food, but with the things that we consume, the people that we're around, and all the things. And it's just this mindfulness across the board. And another thing that I just thought of is how you always say that fitness is a metaphor for life. And everything that you just said really just exemplifies that what you're learning when you're exercising is really what you take for your life every day, all throughout the day, not just while you're working out, is understanding the mind blocks and things that you go through in your daily life is the same thing. It's all interconnected.
It is. It really is. It's all a part of it. So you have to be aware, not just in the workout, like you said, what you're consuming. We don't just consume food. We consume social media. We consume the energy of the people that we're around. So you have to be very aware of what you are allowing yourself to consume and how that will impact your well-being.
Totally. And how do you keep that on track? Because that's something interesting for me, especially with having kids. Mine are little, but your son is older now. How do you keep that balance between all the things that you have going on with social media and the work and the family? And you've talked about this in workouts before, but I would love to hear you explain it more.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I always tell people that I don't actually believe there is such thing as balance, right? Like people always say like, oh, you have to find work-life balance. And I'm like, good luck with that. Because nothing's ever going to be completely balanced all the time. That's all I mean by that is like, you're never going to say like, okay, I'm putting 8 hours of work in and I'm putting 8 hours of time in with my son. And then I'm going to put 8 hours in with my significant, there's not enough hours in the day to put in equal amount of time with everybody and everything. So for me, it's more about like, okay, if I'm in development on a product or something like that, work might be getting a little bit more attention than home life is getting. Doesn't mean my son necessarily suffers, but it might mean that there's dishes left in the sink or I might not see my friends quite as often. Yeah. And then when I'm in a slower period and I'm not in development, then that's when I get a little more time with my son and I get a little more time with my friends and I get a little more self-care time and things like that. So it's making sure that you're finding the overall balance day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, and not hour by hour every single day has to be completely balanced because it's just that's putting unrealistic expectations on you.
And it's a lot of pressure too.
Yeah. And when it comes, my son is about to be 11, and when it comes to even balancing in social media, I've had to make adjustments in terms of the amount of time I'm spending on social media, in terms of what I'm consuming on social media. I used to follow, I still follow a lot of people because I follow a lot of our Beachbody coaches, but I used to follow even more. And I had to really start like asking myself, like, why am I following this particular person? Like maybe somebody's like negativity kept popping up in my feed. And so like, if I see that, I unfollow because I'm just like, I don't need negativity spewed into my subconscious just because I'm scrolling Instagram. And I've probably been a little less active on social media, which people might laugh at because it probably seems like I'm on there all the time. But I think in the last several weeks, especially, I've been a little less active on it just because I am trying to show my son, like, there has to be a balance. And even though it is a part of mommy's work, it can't be every 5 seconds that I'm on social media. Yeah. So, because I don't want him to do that. I'm trying to show him to like, get off your phone. We're done now. Like you're done watching YouTube on your phone. It's hard. It's not always a thing that's easy to do, but it's a work in progress.
Yes. And going back to the work in progress, that was one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is understanding more of like the humanity behind Autumn Calabrese. Because I feel like people see you and they're like, oh my gosh, she's perfect. She's got all these things going on. And one of the things, the first thing that kind of drew me closer to you and to understanding more about you and your story was doing 80-day obsession and seeing you do every single rep of each move and struggle and have to put weights down and change it up. And I feel like that was amazing for us to see that you're a person just like everybody else, right? And it's interesting to hear about your routine and the things that you do to understand that we all struggle from time to time. We all have to deal with family and with work and the whole idea of balance that doesn't exist. But I do want us to talk a little bit more about like self-image and self-love too, especially for someone that works so much with your image and with your appearance, how that has changed over time, how that has improved, or what you have noticed about the way you feel about yourself?
Yeah. If I'm being 100% honest, I will actually say that it's harder now than it's ever been. And that's because I'm in the public eye. That's
Right.
because I'm very aware that I am being judged on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And I have to be okay with that. It comes with the territory. But that doesn't mean that it's always easy. There's days where people will tell you you're too skinny and you look unhealthy and you look tired and you're like, well, I eat healthy, I exercise, and I'm getting plenty of rest. I don't know. What do you want me to do? But that doesn't mean it doesn't wear on you a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's other days where everybody's, cheering you on and thank you so much and you look so fantastic. And you have to let both of them not go to your head, right? Like you can't let one person's comment about you look tired affect the way you feel about yourself. And you can't let somebody's opinion that, you're the greatest thing ever and you changed my life make you feel like you're superior to anybody, because you're not. And so it is a balancing act, and it is something that has to be really consciously worked on a daily basis. Whereas, before I was in the public eye, it was sort of just like, okay, I'm taking care of myself. I feel really good about myself. And that's sort of it. It was like your circle that you surround yourself with, and hopefully you pick the people that make you feel good about yourself. But when you have almost 1 million followers watching you daily, there's going to be somebody that has something negative to say. So it's a little bit of having thick skin. It's a little bit of being able to let things roll off your back and not get sucked into an argument that's with somebody you don't know and somebody that isn't going to affect your life. There's this beautiful thing that I love. It's called swipe, delete, block.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody's really rude or negative on my social media, I don't choose to engage. It's very rare. The only time I really engage is if they're attacking somebody else. Like if I post a before and after,
right,
and they attack that person, or I've had people comment about my son before, and that I don't tolerate. So I usually use it as an example. I will comment back, not rudely, but I will comment back, but I will still block and delete. Or block, because I don't want it to turn into a battle on the page.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want people to know, this isn't accepted. This isn't bullying, isn't tolerated. Don't come on my page and be negative. If you don't like what you see, that's cool. You don't have to follow me.
Right. Yeah.
But I also have to remember, I try to remind myself, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I don't expect to be liked or loved by everybody, but I do expect to be respected. So if you're going to be on my page, you chose to be on my page. Don't be rude.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's just something that that I've had to adjust to, but I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job with it. I feel good about where I am, but it took time. And there are days where it gets to me, and having somebody comment on my appearance, but if I'm okay with myself, then it's easier to block out that noise.
Right. And I love how you talked not only about the negative, but also the positive. That's super important to talk about, how even with all the compliments and everything, you shouldn't get it to your head, because at the end of the day, if you're not comfortable or if you don't love who you are and what you look like, none of that will matter. I always say that compliments are just a bonus. Right. You're supposed to be feeling that yourself to begin with. And it's really nice that you were super honest to say it's harder now. And that's another thing that I think people will look to you and say, oh my gosh, she has almost 1 million followers. It must be amazing. But there's also the downside with the negative people. So there's always the good and the bad.
The good and the bad. Such is life.
We always have to remember that. And one thing that I mentioned to you before we started recording that I do wanted to get into is a recent photo shoot that you did, and you posted something on your birthday, and I loved it so much. The message, the picture was beautiful, obviously, and you posted an amazing message saying, I'm 39 years old and I'm comfortable doing that. Can you talk more about that and the photo shoot and all the things?
I have an amazing female photographer that I like absolutely love, and her work is truly artistic. Like, she's got an eye, and her lighting, everything is beautiful about her work. And I had seen some of the photos she had done of a model, and it was a nude photo shoot, but it was art. It was so beautiful, and I was like, I want to do that. Like, and she's like, great, let's do it. And so we were doing a photo shoot. We were doing a lot of fitness stuff. And at the end of it, she's like, okay, are you ready? And I was like, let's do it. Like, so, and it was just, there was just girls. So whatever, here's the thing. The human body is just that. I really think that sometimes we put all of this negativity on the body and sexuality, and like, there's definitely a difference between being grotesque, which I would never do, and being tasteful and appreciating the human body. We all have it. Like, it's really just not that big of a deal.
Right.
That's my opinion of it. That's what I try to teach my son, because I don't want him to feel so like, oh my God, it's bad, it's taboo. I'm like, it's not. Like, you don't put anything grotesque out there, but it's just body. Nothing was actually showing. Mm-hmm. And I had wanted to do a shoot like that for so long, that really was just more artistic and about the body and appreciating your body. And I almost feel like I appreciated doing it more at 39 than I would have doing it at 25, right? Like, it takes more work at 39 after having a kid to get up there and be confident in the skin you're in and embrace all of sort of the battle wounds that you have. And while you might not see them all the time, like, I've got a C-section scar, and I've got a hernia scar, and I've got a scar on the side of my knee from getting a benign growth taken out. I've got stretch marks, and like, you know, whatever. I'm not saying like, oh, my body's bad. I'm just saying we all have them. Yep. So to embrace your body and love it at that stage, when it's not feeling so perfect, is, I think, even more inspiring and empowering. And that was my message of the post, was that it took me 39 years, not because I was uncomfortable with it, but more so because I was worried about being judged by it. And that was the whole reason I put it up there, was because it shouldn't matter.
Right.
It shouldn't matter if somebody else is going to judge me, as long as I'm not judging myself. And I'm not. And I feel like if it was the cover of a magazine, right? If Women's Health came calling, or, oh God, what's the sports magazine that does like the athlete body issue?
Sports Illustrated?
Is it I think it's Sports Illustrated. And they do like an athlete where all of them are naked. You don't see anything, but everybody's naked. And everybody loves it and everybody appreciates it. But when you put it on social media, I think because you weren't picked to have your body.
Right, you just chose.
You chose to, all of a sudden, like, there's something wrong with that. And and I don't think there is. I think, you know, Sports Illustrated wants to put me on the cover, or I just feel confident in it, that it's okay for me. I mean, you're not going to see photos of me every day on my Instagram, but
yeah, well, it's a testament of you accepting who you are and not caring what other people think. And one thing I was going to ask you, and I think you kind of answered it already, but I'm going to say it, is how you hope to be impacting other women positively by your work in general, but also with this message. And I love what you said, that this means a lot more at 39 than it does at 25 for so many reasons, right? Because of all the things that you've been through and the marks that you probably didn't have before. But then again, you probably weren't as strong as you are right now, and it wouldn't mean as much as it does now. So I love that as well. But in terms of how you hope to be impacting women with your work in general, and also with this message of accepting yourself, no matter where you are in your journey and all the things.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing is to that's really what I want to teach women, is self-love, is that it's not about the number on the scale, that it's not about the amount of likes that you get or the compliments that you get. All of those things are lovely. Like, they're nice, but those things will fade, right? At the end of the day, the older we get, those things will fade. So the only thing you're going to be left with is how you feel about yourself. And like I said, fitness really is a metaphor for life. So the more you show yourself you're strong and that you can do things that maybe you didn't think you can do, the more you can take that into your life. And that's what I want to show women, is we're not limited. We don't need to be held back, especially by ourselves and our own limiting beliefs. So if I can push somebody just a little bit harder, if I can show them how to love themselves a little more, if I can be the person that believes in them while they learn to believe in themselves, then that's what I want to be here to do, so that they feel like they're their best self when they step out into the world.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. Give me all you got and a little bit more, right? Oh, I love this so much. Thank you so much, Autumn. This was great. And tell people how to find you on social media. I'm sure it's hard, but give us all the details.
It's just my name. So you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube. It's all at Autumn Calabrese. So come on over. If you're looking to be inspired, that's what I'm there for.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
How amazing was that? I'm still blown away that I got to chat with one of my biggest inspirations for quite a few years now, and also so grateful that I got to bring her on to share her amazingness with you. What did you think? Connect with me and let me hear your thoughts, and don't forget to connect with Autumn too. All the links are in the show notes. Until next time, bye.